Hi, my name is Wendy. I'm a real estate agent based in Nairobi, and this is the third episode of the Moving to Nairobi series. So, in this episode, we're going to be talking about two things at the same time. One is the lease. So once you've gotten your house, at this point we assume that you've gotten a house and now you need the lease, and also the procedure of moving into a house and what to expect, what are the expectations from the landlord and what are the expectations from the tenant, to have this clear while you're moving. So the standard lease in Nairobi is 1 year. You can negotiate for 2 years or 3 years, but the standard is 1 year renewable. So some landlords will have an increment at the end of that 1 year and some will not. So it's very important for you to read through your lease very, very carefully, because most landlords use a standard lease and might not customize it to your needs. So if you have any things that you have agreed on with the landlord, it's important to have all those things written in the lease. So I'll give you a few pointers. I'm not a lawyer, but I'll just give you a few pointers based on my experience as a real estate agent and as a property manager, just to help you as you sign your lease. Number one, take your time to read through your lease. Have your lease read by a lawyer. A lawyer will charge you between $50 to $150 to read through your lease. This is an important rule, especially if you're new to Nairobi, you don't know the rules, you don't know how much you're protected. So it would be good to have a lawyer read it. Don't read it yourself. Number two, make sure that your lease covers all your agreements. So if the rent is inclusive of service charge, make sure that shows. If your lease is inclusive of, if there's some things that you've negotiated that the landlord is supposed to cover, don't just say it orally. Make sure that everything is included in the lease. Number three, the thing that most people find shocking is that when you move here, every tenant is expected to return their house to the state they found it in. Now, if you don't do that, then the landlord can deduct it from your deposit. So it's very important that you'll be expected to paint back your house, do repairs in your house before you hand it over. And that is something new for many expatriates. The next thing is the standard payment that will be required from you is a 2 months deposit and a 1 month's rent. Sometimes you can negotiate this to be paid in installments, but eventually you have to pay it. The 2 months deposit is usually refundable, and that's something else that your lease should clearly state. So make sure your lease states that after I've returned the house to its state, then I have to get back my deposit within 2 weeks. Make sure it's stated there. Otherwise, some landlords will take advantage of you, and many people have not received back their deposit. So make sure that your lease covers that area. The next thing that also you should make sure is covered by your lease is whose name is the lease in. So that is the person that you should be dealing with. If the lease is in an individual's name, make sure that the person the lease's name is in is the account that you're paying the money in, to avoid any issues. Then once you've finished the lease process, you've signed, make sure that you have a lawyer who's witnessed your part and a lawyer who has also witnessed the landlord's part, because this is what will protect you for the duration of the lease. And it's important to note that the landlord, for most Kenyan leases, is only responsible for the exterior of the property. So once you've moved into the house, anything that happens to the house that is not structural will have to be paid by you. And sometimes this can become very expensive. So it's good to do a thorough inspection before you move into the house, because after you move, you'll be liable for all aspects of the house if it's not structural, if it's not the roof, if it's not the parking, if it's not the common area, you will have to take care of it. Now, you've signed the lease, everything is okay. Both parties have been witnessed by a lawyer. When you are moving into the house, take detailed pictures of every part of the house and share them on a Google Drive with your landlord, together with an inspection inventory form. So the inspection inventory form should have a very detailed checklist of every room, how you found every room, because most houses will have wear and tear. There'll be some things that are spoiled, but you might be surprised those things are very expensive, and if it's deducted from your deposit, it can really add up. And if you don't have proper documentation, then some landlords can take advantage of you and say that you're the one who spoiled it. So make sure you have detailed pictures. Make sure you have a detailed inventory checklist of every single room, showing the condition in which you found everything. And this is the same form and the same pictures that you will use when you're reclaiming your deposit. So in general, if you go step by step and you have someone guiding you through the whole process, a good lawyer and a good real estate agent, generally you will find that your process when you're moving in and you're moving out is seamless. And in case you have any other questions, you can email me and I'll be happy to answer. If you also have any other tips that you'd like to share from your experience moving to Nairobi, please do share with me as well.